Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi. Welcome back to Noor Ishq, the path to surrender, a sacred sanctuary for the heart where fear dissolves, faith takes root, and the soul aligns fully with divine trust. Let's start our next chapter, living in Baqa. When the heart becomes content, when resistance softens, when acceptance settles deeply within, something opens quietly. The seeker begins to live differently. This is Baqa. Not as a concept, but as a state, a way of being. After Rida, the heart no longer resists. After Fana, the self is no longer dominant. And now in Baqa, the heart remains. It remains with Allah, not only in moments of worship, not only in times of silence, but in the flow of life itself. Baqa is not separation from the world, it is presence within. The seeker returns to life. They continue to speak, to work, to interact. Outwardly, nothing extraordinary appears, but inwardly, something has changed permanently. The heart no longer feels disconnected. It carries a quiet awareness, a subtle companionship, a constant nearness. This is Baqa. The heart lives, but it no longer lives alone. There is a quiet knowing Allah is here, not as a thought, as a presence. This presence does not overwhelm, it does not demand attention, it rests gently in the background of every moment. And because of this, the heart becomes steady. Before, the seeker moved between states, sometimes close, sometimes distant, sometimes soft, sometimes restless. But now there is continuity, not perfection, but stability. Even when emotion change, even when circumstances shift, the connection remains. This is one of the signs of Baqa. The heart is no longer dependent on feeling close. It knows. This knowing is quiet. It does not need to prove itself. It simply remains. Baqa also transforms action. Before, action may have been influenced by the self. There was effort, intention, and awareness. But there was still a subtle sense of I am doing. Now that the sense softens, the heart begins to feel I am being moved, I am being guided, I am being carried. This does not remove responsibility. The seeker still chooses, acts, and responds. But the inner weight changes. There is less ownership, less pressure, more flow. Actions become lighter because the heart is no longer carrying the illusion of control. There is also a deep humility that appears in Baqa. The seeker does not feel elevated. They do not feel that they have reached something. In fact, the more the heart settles, the more it realizes how dependent it is. Every breath feels given, every moment feels sustained. This realization creates gratitude, not forced gratitude, natural gratitude, a quiet recognition that everything comes from Allah. Baqa also deepens love. Earlier, love was longing. Then it became trust. Then it became acceptance. Now it becomes companionship. The heart no longer feels distant. It no longer feels that it must search. It feels accompanied, held close, even in ordinary moments, even in silence, even in times when nothing is happening. This love is not emotional alone, it is stable. It does not rise and fall quickly. It remains, and within it, there is peace. Another beautiful aspect of Baqa is simplicity. The seeker becomes simpler, less complicated, less reactive, less concerned with image. Life becomes easier to carry, not because challenges disappear, but because the heart is no longer resisting them. It moves through life gently, without force, without tension, with awareness, with trust, with surrender. Baka also expresses itself through service. When the heart is no longer occupied with itself, it becomes available to listen, available to support, available to care. Service becomes natural, not as a role, not as an identity, but as an expression of the heart. A kind word, a moment of patience, a quiet act of help. These becomes effortless because the heart is no longer asking, what do I gain? It is simply giving. This giving carries light because it comes from a place of sincerity. Living in Baqa does not mean the journey has ended. The path continues, the heart continues to grow, to refine, to deepen. But something essential has settled. The seeker is no longer searching in the same way. The restlessness has softened, the urgency has faded. There is a place within the heart that feels like home, a place of quiet presence, a place of steady awareness, a place where the heart returns again and again, and that place is Allah. Living in Baqa is not about becoming extraordinary, it is about becoming true. A sovereign, present, humble, trusting. and gently walking through life with a heart that remembers. Thank you for listening. As you close this chapter, carry its stillness into your day. Allow surrender to be your anchor. Trust your sanctuary and love your guiding light.